Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you for joining me today. What I'm going to be teaching is a border that has a little bit more complexity to it than what I've done before. This is exactly what we're going to be doing. As you can see, this is a border that has a crosshatch area and a feather area, and it is separated by a series of lines. Our goal is to get this to fit into the border that you see marked by this zone right through here. Let's get started with marking. Okay, we're set. Now, I have drawn out what I want to do for the border. Over here is the center line of the border, and over here is the corner. And you can see that I have divided it into 1, 2, 3 segments to the inside corner. That means I'm going to have to do the same thing on the quilt top. Now, I can take a ruler, measure it, divide it by 3, hope I get it right. Or what I could do is I could take a piece of, this is just a label material, but you could use anything that you have on hand, like cash register tape. Put the tip on the corner, mark the tape for the corner, take a pair of scissors and cut it. And now I have to divide that. 3 times 2 is 6, so into 6 sections. I'm going to first divide it into 2 sections, and then I'll divide it into thirds from there. So let me eyeball this as best I can. I don't have to be dead accurate, I just have to be close. And that looks fantastic. I'll open it up and I'll set it on the quilt and mark it. Now, as far as marking pencils are concerned, you can use 2 types that I have. It's called a water erasable fabric marking pen that makes a light line. And yes, you have to spritz it with water. Or you can use a heavier line from a marker called the Mark Be Gone. And that's what I'm going to use, hoping the camera can pick up on it. I'll place that center tick onto the quilt and I'll mark the 2 tops, and I'll do the same thing on the bottom, and I'll just simply visually transfer them down. I'm accurate enough. If I want to, I could take the tape and lay the tape back down and register it that way, but you can see I was very good at what I did. We're set to go. Let's look at the pattern again, and let's take and figure out what kind of arcs we want to use. Now, for the outside arcs that are these big ones, if I look at this ruler, I can see this one has got a lot more curve than what I was drawing, and I don't want that much curve. I'd like more than what I drew, but not that much more. And I think this is a great compromise. If I see from the center line, I start at the top and go downward. So on the quilt, I'll do exactly the same thing. I'll start at the top and I'll go downward. These are just guidelines to help me when I get this on frame so that I know which direction I'm going. But I'll be much more accurate when it comes time to quilt this out. This last one goes down to the tip, and then if I'd like to, I'll just simply eyeball what I'd like to do here for this one. And let me do the other half. Don't worry if you don't understand how we're going to quilt this yet. I'll explain that when we get there. I've got that done. The last thing that I want to mark off is the center line for the spine, and you can see it's sitting right here. Let me see how this works. That looks great, so I'm going to use that. I can take the time and draw a line and measure up from the bottom a certain distance. I'm just going to eyeball where about the middle is and make a mark. And I'll set my circle on that, and I'll simply just do a quick spine. I'm actually going to be not using a ruler for the spine. I'm actually going to free motion it in as I go along on the quilting side of things. So this is just merely a guideline. We're all marked up. We're ready to go. I'll meet you at the long arm. Okay, we're set to begin. Make sure before you do any ruler work that you have put your long arm ruler base onto your machine so that you have a level surface with which to work with your rulers. If you don't have one of these and you try ruler work, you have a great chance of breaking your needle and ruining your hook assembly. Let's get started. As you can see, this is the piece that we marked out. And what I'm going to actually do is start up in this corner, bounce down, and do the outside arc that you see here. This arc here for the spine was marked by me just for reference. I'm not going to be using a ruler on it, but it's there to help me stitch. Let's get this guy going. First thing we need to do is tie off, so I'm going to do a few stitches up here. and we can begin. I'm going to take my ruler and line it up so that it looks like I've got a 1/4 inch gap between the ruler and the line that I've marked down. That's going to take some work by you to get used to, but that's because of where the needle is in relationship to the hopping foot, a 1/4 inch away. Let's start. I'm going to drop the needle and then I'm going to pivot the ruler. Don't push too hard on the ruler. Just put enough tension on it so that it's secured and make sure that it's not above that hopping foot. Let's continue. Now what I'm going to do is place myself a 1/4 inch away from that line that I just drew. And I can tell that I'm a 1/4 inch away when the edge of my ruler is sitting flush on the line that I just did. Bear with me as I get this set up because the camera is in the way. Now what we're going to do is fill in the grid work. We're going to space the grid work at a 1/2 inch, which means on the ruler, we're now going to start using the grid lines that you see here, and we're going to set the first grid line that we see on the line we just stitched. That will give us the correct spacing. I'm going to march out until I'm actually at that spot. I've lined up my line the entire length. I will travel down. I can either take my stitches and travel free motion up, or if I'm not confident about that, I can take my ruler, set my ruler down, and use my ruler to help guide me to the next spot. I'm going to do the same thing. March over until my ruler is at the right spot, march down. I'll free motion this upwards. March up, march over, back. Almost done. Now I can go the other way, which means I have to travel this way a little bit in order to put the first line of the ruler on the pre-existing line that we stitched. all the work that we needed to do for those. Let's actually tie this one off. Let's get each one of the feathers placed in, and then we'll do that corner motif. In order to do the feather, I'm going to place my mark, or my set-in point I should say, at the center point, and I'm going to tie this off. I'm going to do a figure 8. It's at this point that I'll actually put the needle down, tie off and cut, and finish my 8. Off we do the feathers. I'm going to travel up this side, hop in the next side. And I'll tie off. I would do more than that to tie off, but for the sake of time, plop the needle down, come in and cut. Do the next one. Lastly, what we have to do are the corner pieces. I'll just start up here. Use my ruler one last time. And then all that I'm going to do in the center here, since it's so narrow to begin with, is simply put in pebbles. And I've just got one other corner to do, and we are all done. We're done. There you have it, a custom border designed specifically for this size. If you like what you saw, don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. You can also visit me online at www.threadworksfactory.com, and you can also like my Facebook page at the Threadworks Factory. This was a wonderful custom border done, very narrow. It's only 3 inches wide, and yet we were able to do all of this detail to it. I hope you enjoyed what you saw. Go out and give it a shot. And as always, have a wonderful day. Take care.